The following table shows the group members and their respective roles for Group 4. Assalamualaikum and greetings everyone. We are students from the Bachelor of Management Marketing with NUS, currently taking the subject Commercial Law, MGM 3143, under the guidance of our lecturer, Dr. Junaidah binti Abdul Karim. We are Group 4, and in this presentation, we will be answering question 4 of the assignment. The question we will be discussing as shown on the screen, it involves a situation regarding Mr. Azlan and a land purchase. Without further delay, I will now pass the floor to our first presenter to begin the discussion on the issues based on the case. Please welcome.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Srilana Ashura binti Yunus. My number matric is N71209. Today, I will be addressing a legal issue concerning a land transaction between a landowner and a purchaser named Azlan. Specifically, I will be examining 5 key issues. Issues number 1, whether the landowner's statement that the land contains 100 palm oil trees per acre constitute a misrepresentation. Issues number 2, did Azlan rely on the landowner's statement when deciding to purchase the land? Issues number 3, what is the impact of Azlan commissioning a valuation report from Rahimi and Co? Issue number 4, can Azlan legally annul the purchase due to the mispresentation? And issue number 5, is the landowner liable for the inaccurate statement? That's all from me about legal issue in this case. Thank you.
Next, we will move on to the second and third presenter who will explain the legal principles involved based on the case. Please continue.
Thank you. Before I start, let me introduce my name. My name is Nur Alina Sofia binti Ali Hassan, matrix number S71417, and now I will explain the legal principle relevant to this case. The main issue in this scenario is involve the concept of misrepresentation. Under Malaysian law, misrepresentation is governed by the Contract Act 1950, specifically under Section 18. Misrepresentation refer to a false statement of fact made by one party to another, which induce the latter to enter into a contract. Under Malaysian law, misrepresentation is governed by a Contract 1950. There are 3 types of misrepresentation, which is, first one is fraudulent misrepresentation, when a false statement is made knowingly or without belief in its truth or recklessly. The second one is negligent misrepresentation, which is when a false statement is made carelessly or without reasonable grounds for believing it or to be true. And the last one is innocent misrepresentation, which is when a false statement is made with an honest belief that is true. In the given case, the landowner represented that the land had 100 palm oil trees per acre, but the valuation report found only 50 trees per acre. This is a clear false statement of fact because the number of trees is a quantifiable detail, not a matter of opinion. The landowner's statement was not only false, but it also induced Azlan to enter into the contract, as the productivity of the land was a crucial factor influencing his decision to buy. This brings the situation clearly within the scope of misrepresentation under Section 18. For example, we can refer the case of Redgrave versus Hurd on 1881, where the seller misrepresented the income of his businesses and the buyer relied on that to enter the contract. The court allowed the buyer to resign the contract. Similarly, Azlan relied on the landowner's statement and later discovered the truth through an independent valuation report. This undermines the principle of consent under contract law, which must be free and informed. That concludes my part on the legal principle of misrepresentation. Next, we will move on to what legal remedies are available when misrepresentation occur. To explain this in more detail, I will now pass the presentation to my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. I will continue my part. Before that, I will introduce myself. My name is Aiman Sura binti Mazuki with matric number S71245. Under the Contract Act 1950, especially Section 19, is a contract is entered into a due mispresentation. It becomes voidable. This means is missless party in this case. Encik Azlan can either cancel the contract or choose to proceed with it. The key word here is voidable, which is different from void. Voidable is a contract remain valid unless the innocent party decide to cancel it. Under Section 19(1), its concern was caused by coercion, fraud, or mispresentation. The affected party has the option to set the aside of contract. If the mispresentation was fraudulent or negligent, Encik Azlan may also claim the damage for any financial loss. for a well-known case in Derry v. Pick 1889, where the court defined fraudulent mispresentation a failed statement made unknowingly or recklessly. Although in a UK case, a local case Tan Chi Huat v. Glomus, Legal 207, showed that a buyer misled about the property decline was allowed to cancel the contract and the claim damage. So if Encik Azlan can provide the loaner knowingly or carelessly mispresented the number of plum, all three, he can recant the contract or cancel the deal and he will get the money back. Secondly, he can claim the damage for any losses suffered. That's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Okay, now we move to the fourth presenter who will discuss the arguments based on the case. Please continue.
Thank you to Sophia and Aima for explaining the legal principle. My name is Siti Shara binti Kamrul Zaman. My matric number is S71243. Now I will continue by presenting the argument based on the case of Mr. Azlan. In this case, the landowner clearly states that the land had 100 palm oil tree per acre, which is a material fact, meaning it is significant and capable of influencing a decision. Azlan relied heavily on this statement, especially because the value of the land was tied directly to its productivity. However, the valuation report conducted by Rahimi and Co. later revealed that the actual number of trees was only 50 per acre, which is half of what was promised. So what does this mean legally? This is a false statement of fact, and it fulfills the legal element of misrepresentation. Whether the false information was made fraudulently, negligently, or innocently, the impact remains the same. It misled Azlan into entering the contract. If the landowner knew the information was false or made the statement recklessly, then this would amount to fraudulent misrepresentation, which is the most serious type. If the landowner made the statement without verifying it properly, then it could fall under negligent misrepresentation. In either case, Azlan was misled and suffered a financial disadvantage due to relying on that false statement. This strengthens his right to pursue legal remedies, such as rescinding the contract or claiming the damage. A similar situation can be seen in the case of Redgrave v. Hart 1881, where the court allowed the buyer to cancel the contract after being misled by a false financial representation. Therefore, based on the fact and legal principle, our argument is that a misrepresentation did occur in this case, and Azlan is entitled to legal remedies to correct this the injustice. That's all. Thank you.
Now, we move on to the final part of our discussion, application and conclusion based on the case, which will be presented by me, and I will be the last presenter for our group. Before I continue, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Putri Shamaira Binti Safi'i, and my matric number is S71232. So, what do we mean by application and conclusion? Application is how legal principles are applied to specific facts to determine the outcome, and conclusion is the final summary based on that application, showing the likely decision. Here is the application in this case. Section 18 of the Contracts Act of 1950 defines mispresentations as a false statement or fact that causes another person to enter into a contract. In this scenario, the landowner informed Azlan that there were 100 palm oil trees per acre, influencing his choice to buy the site. However, evaluation by Rahimi and Co. indicated only 50 trees per acre, directly contradicting the landowner's assertion. If the landowner makes this statement knowingly or without verifying its correctness, it may be considered fraudulent or negligent under Derry versus Pick 1889, which stipulates that a statement made recklessly or without belief in its truth is fraud. Similarly, in Tan Chai Huat versus Glomac Regal, Senyap Berhad 2007, the court permitted rescissions and damage based on deception. Although Azlan conducted evaluation, it did not mitigate the deceptive impact of the original statement. Section 19(1) of the Contracts Act of 1950 allows the misled party to cancel the contract. Next, the conclusion is as follows. The landowner's false assertion about the number of palm oil trees per acre encouraged Azlan to enter into the deal. Azlan has the right to terminate the contract and claim damage under Section 18 and 19(1) of the Contracts Act of 1950 as well as applicable case law. As a result, he is likely to succeed in cancelling the transaction, and the landowner may face liability for the misleading statement. With that, we have completed our analysis for this assignment. That's all from us. Thank you.